Hi, my name's Khloe and welcome to Chatting with Khloe. I am so excited for this Chatting with Khloe because we have an amazing author with us doing some great things and really showing the world some diversity. So I would love to bring on our guest, Miss Tonya Ellis. Welcome, Miss Tonya. How are you doing?
Fine. How are you? It's good to see you.
Yes, it's so good to meet you and good to see you. I'm doing great. Before we get started into this interview, can you please tell everyone about yourself?
Yes, I'm a children's author based in Houston, Texas, and I have written a series of books, 11 children's chapter books, the Sophie Washington series, about a little girl in the suburbs of Houston and her diverse group of friends and all their fun adventures.
That's so cool. And during this time, it's just so important to see books with brown faces in it. And I just want to know, why is it important to you to have these type of books?
It's important to me because I believe that children's books or any book should be representative of our society. And so our society is a true melting pot, and especially here in my community in Houston, it's a true melting pot. We're one of the most diverse cities in the United States. And so I wanted to show that in the books that I wrote. I read a lot to my 3 children. I'm a mother of 3. They were around your age when we used to read chapter books similar to mine. And I noticed that there weren't many characters that looked like them in the books. And there were none that starred characters that looked like them. So that inspired me to write my series about Sophie, who is an African-American little girl, and her friends who come from various cultures. We have a Hispanic character, white, Black, a character from Nigerian, an Indian character, and these all represent people that we see commonly in my community here in Houston.
Yeah, and even having stories written with brown or Black kids as the leading role, it's not supporting cast is important, and like, how do we encourage more books that have Black and brown faces as the leading role and just not like the best friend or the supporting cast?
Well, I think that is a charge really for the publishing industry to help support and promote diverse authors of color, to bring own voices stories to the public. I think that's very important for them. And they have started waking up and realizing that there is a lack of diversity in children's literature. In fact, there was a study that came out last year that showed that last year, just 12% of books had African American characters as the main character in children's literature. So I believe they're really trying to change this. And there's a psychologist named Rudy Sims Bishops who said that a book should be windows, mirrors, and sliding glass doors, meaning that books should be a mirror where when we read them, we see ourselves. They should be windows opening up worlds, different worlds to children as they read them so they can learn about other peoples and places and things. And then sliding glass doors where they allow us to actually experience these different cultures and different lifestyles through the books we read. And that's important for kids of all races, just so that we can understand each other and improve our society.
That's great, and I love the way, like the way that the quote that you used and the way you really portrayed it, because I think that's really important to really have those windows and have those sliding doors and just having those mirrors as well. I think all those things are so important, and that's like why, like, I love reading and I love writing just because of those things. And I know I'm an author and you're an author, but I just want to know a lot about like the writing experience. So can you tell me just more about the actual experience when it came with writing this book?
Right. Well, I started writing when I was around your age, just like you. I love to read and love to write. And I was a journalist for a while and also wrote for 10 years as a freelance writer. So I wrote freelance feature stories for magazines in the Houston area. But as far as the process for writing my Sophie Washington books, I just decided one day that I wanted to write a book to represent the African American little girls and all the kids out here that we don't see featured as stars in books. And I said, this could be a series. There was a series that I used to read to my kids called Ready Freddy that I really liked. And I kind of modeled my series after those. And I wanted her to do different things that kids commonly do, like the first book, she participates in a spelling bee. I wanted her to have those experiences with ups and downs with friendships and different things that kids go through, but show them through the lens of the diverse characters. And with the process, for me, I do outlines for each of my books. They all have 20 chapters. They all are kind of the same page length. So I kind of have a system that I use when I write them. But for you as a young author, I would recommend that you continue to read widely and just learn all that you can. Continue to work hard in school, and with all your accomplishments, I know you do that, definitely. So for you, I would just encourage someone of your age just to keep reading and learning and doing the things that you're doing. And also practice writing. I've kept a journal for years, and I started your age or younger. So that's right, practicing that writing muscle, just like if you played a sport and you're practicing, if you do writing each day, that would be a great exercise for you to help improve with your writing, as well as reading as much as you can.
And just with this writing experience, I bet since you do love writing and that you love reading and all those things, like I want to know, like, are you gonna write any more books? Just because just hearing about this book series, I can't wait to read it and everything. But like I said, I just want to know if you're gonna write any more books after this.
Okay, if I'm writing more books. Yes, I actually have 11 books in the series, and I just released the 11th title, Sophie Washington Class Retreat, about a month ago. So I'm planning on another book in the series. As long as the kids enjoy them, I'll continue writing them. And in the coming year, I'd like to write a picture book. So I've been working on that. And like I told you to read, I really am planning on reading more picture books, because generally I read more middle grade books. So I want to immerse myself in reading more picture books, because I haven't read a lot of those since my kids were small. And I'd like to try my hand at a picture book in the coming year.
Wow, yay. I would love to like see the variety of different books, because I have a little sister and I would love to read her a book with just different people that look like her. And it's not like it's not just, animals or just crayons or something that are in a
Right.
book. Actual people that look like her, that are doing something that she can do one day, or just being like her and being like her and doing the things that she does, and so she can see someone that's like her in a book, and so she'll want to be like them, and it'll just make her want to do more. And when it comes with writing books, or just people, I know so many people who actually want to write books, and like I in just books, but just books in general. And I would love to see more people writing books, but a lot of times they're discouraged to do it. So what advice do you have for anyone that wants to write a book?
I'd say, just as I told you before, reading would really help you. If you want to write a book, read in the genre that you're interested in writing. Just like I was saying that I was going to be reading picture books, because you want to learn kind of what people are used to reading in that genre. So that would be my number one thing, would be to read many books in that genre, write in the genre that you're interested in. And by genre for kids, it's the type of book, like nonfiction, fiction, or historical fiction, autobiography. So if you're interested in that, maybe you want to try your hand. So that would be my the first suggestion is read in the area you're interested in, if you're not sure where to start.
And I think that's great, because I feel like reading those type of books, it really, like you said, it really gets you to understand what people are reading and what they're used to. So if you would love to write a book, make sure to read the books you want to write about, like Miss Tonya said. But I love the graphics on your books, and they can see behind you the picture. But like these kids have like natural braids and fros, like what made you want to go that route?
Well, as I said, my inspiration was my own kids when I wrote the book. So I wanted to write books about people who look like them and look like the neighborhood. So that was my inspiration. We've got Black kids, African, Hispanic, they all have different texture hair and things like that. So that's what inspired me to do that.
And chapter books are hard to write, and I want my next book to be a chapter book. How long did it take you to write these things? Because I just really want to know this because, like I said, it's something that I actually really want to do.
And that's a great question. That's a question I get asked frequently on school visits. And it took me about 6 to 8 months to write the first book. And my books are all about 100 pages, and they're illustrated chapter books. They all have about 20 illustrations in them, black and white illustrations. So in the beginning, I'm coming up with the world and the characters and how they're going to behave. So that took me a little longer. Now I can write the first draft of one of my stories in about 2 or 3 months, because I kind of know how they're going to act, and I introduce 1 or 2 new characters per book. So those are the new people I'm trying to create and come up with their characteristics.
And on Instagram, you have an image of the Sophie Washington series, and there are a ton of kids on a couch and floor reading together. That's powerful. Like, what message are you trying to send with that image?
Well, just that the importance of reading and how reading takes us to another world. And in that image you're mentioning, I had a quote from Barack Obama that's saying that children need to read widely and read as much as possible. And I just believe reading opens the world to us all. When I was little, we didn't really travel. We didn't, of course, have the internet and all the opportunities a lot of kids have. But reading just opened the world to me. It made me strive for so many different things and encouraged me to travel as I got older, and just open my mind to so many things. So that's what I want to convey with my books and with the images that I present of my series, is that reading opens the world to all people.
That's beautiful. And I love that you were able to use, I love the quotes that you put in things, or the quotes that you use. They're just such powerful things. But I want to know, who are you inspired by? That's something I do really want to know.
Oh, that's a great question. I'm inspired by many children's authors like Kelly Starling Lyons, Rita Williams Garcia, who wrote a book about some girls during the civil rights time. Mildred D. Taylor, who wrote Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. I love some of those great classic books. And even authors like Judy Blume and Beverly Cleary, those inspired me because those are the books I had available to me to read when I grew up. We didn't really have the diverse books like you are fortunate to have today. So, but those were great books that I loved. So my books are realistic fiction. So those are the kind of books that inspire me. And another inspiration of mine was when I was younger in college, I had the opportunity to meet Maya Angelou during a time she visited my college, and we were able to pick her up from the airport. So she loved to talk to young people and encourage them. And I asked her, how long did it, just questions, just like you're asking me, actually. Of course, I'm by no means of the caliber of Maya Angelou, but I was asking her how long it took her to write her books and about the process. So that made me feel like maybe one day I could write a book myself. So that was a real inspiration to me.
That's so cool that you got to meet Maya Angelou. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And most of the books that you listed are books that I've read before, and they're like one of the reasons why I fell in love with reading. Like, there's so many books, especially like some of the books behind me are like the reasons why I fell in love with reading, and the reasons why I keep on reading. And that's one thing. And I like to say the same thing, that a lot of different books, and just books in general and their authors, really do inspire me, just because the words that they wrote down, those words just inspired me as well. But I also would like to know, where do you see yourself in about like 5 years?
In 5 years, where do I see myself? Well, I hope to continue with my series, maybe have another series with a boy main character, have some picture books, even traditionally published. And really, I love what I do. I hope I can continue as long as I can inspire the children, encourage them to read. I want to just continue, and hopefully my business as an author will continue to grow.
And that is amazing. And last question, where can we find you and your book and your social media?
Okay, great. You website at TonyaDuncanEllis.com, and you can find me on my social media at Tonya Ellis Books. Those are my Facebook and Instagram handles at Tonya Ellis Books, and I'm on Twitter at Tonya D. Ellis.
Awesome. That was so much fun talking with Miss Ellis. I had so much fun learning about all the things that she's doing. Her books are amazing. Make sure you go follow her on all her social media platforms. Go read her books, all of those things. And like I said, I had so much fun talking with her, and I can't wait to see you guys again. Bye!